To be able to introduce for the first time ever anywhere the 45th President of the United States of America, Donald J. Trump.
I think I'm in love. So, while America was trying to enjoy a nice transfer of power on Friday, protesters smashed windows at a bank and a Starbucks. Sorry, did I say protesters? I mean cowardly thug jackasses with hygiene issues. They also destroyed a glass shelter where people wait for the bus. How brave. You really showed those little old ladies trying to make it across town to see their grandkids. What's next? Loot a rest home? And so every violent act helps the Trump re-election campaign. Check out this little progressive in training.
Why'd you start that fire?
Because I felt like it, and because I'm just saying, screw our president.
Isn't he adorable? I'm sure his parents are proud when they make bail. But maybe that runt actually works for Trump. I think he just created more Republicans. The media complains about Trump being scary. His words are nothing compared to the violence, this violence that never occurred after inaugurations of Democrats. It seems like only one side engages in this stuff. As for the nonviolent protesters, and there were tons, I get it. You're upset. Your choice didn't win. You've made that clear.
Introduced for the first time ever anywhere the 45th President of the United States of America, Donald J. Trump.
We've all been there. Let it out. Let it out. I'm sorry. I just love that. It's the greatest moment from this entire election season. One more time. Here's the deal. Some of us felt that way 4 years ago. We didn't show it, but it's good to be seen and heard now and again. Check out this elderly activist.
Come on, girls. Do you believe in love? Because I got something to say about it. And it goes a little something like this. Don't go for second best, baby. Put your love to the test.
Wow, that's amazing. If you can recognize, that was Madonna at the Women's March in D.C., where she also said this.
Yes, I am outraged. Yes, I have thought an awful lot about blowing up the White House.
She felt like blowing up the White House. With her, it's always about blowing something up. But here's my favorite protester who brings a bit of style and joy to the events. It's good to see Keith Olbermann getting out more. But after a while, you know what? You gotta realize, dear protester, that it's not about you, but a country. Despite the outcome that you might despise, you might hate, you gotta accept that the process is still the greatest one on earth. Or far better than anything this person could come up with. When this settles down, dear lady, call me.
Period.
Let's welcome tonight's guest, shall we? Oh, dear God, he's sharp and funny, like a dagger made of joy buzzers. Rob Long, executive producer of Kevin Can Wait and founder of Ricochet. She's so bright she comes with a dimmer. It's political journalist Erin McPike. He's a cross between Hercules and Socrates. TNA wrestler, Fox News contributor Tyrus. Oh, yeah. And She's so cynical, it's clinical. National Review reporter and Fox News contributor, Kat Timpf. Boo! Boo! Rob. It has been a wild weekend. A lot of protests. I noticed the press loves the protests. Are they going to be this way about the Right to Life March next week?
Well, I hope they pace themselves. I mean, this guy's got 1,400 more days to go.
Yes.
That's a long way. If you freak out every day, you're just gonna I mean, I don't know you're gonna make it. I'm worried about. I'm not worried about the poor lady. I don't know if she's gonna. I mean, last time I had that reaction was the old days when you show up at McDonald's at 10:45 and they're like, no Egg McMuffin anymore. No. But if you saw that, if you backtime that video, which is interesting, which I think is another thing we're gonna have to get used to, you can see her as the countdown is getting ready. He's ready to like finish the oath. Yeah. She looks up. It's really true in the video. She looks up at the camera. And that is going to be a metaphor for the next 4 years. It's people doing crazy stuff and having freakouts just for the camera, just kind of a pay attention to me kind of thing.
I know I do that when I'm in my hotel room.
Yeah, but there's somebody there. There's also a camera.
Yeah, there's a lot of cameras. Erin, okay. Why is it this never happens? I always say this never happens when a Republican loses. Like, the Republicans don't run out into the street and break stuff. Is this just some kind of inherently genetic problem with Democrats?
Well, you know, a lot
of
people would point out that it was a lot of not Democrats who were protesting. They were like anarchists out.
I.e. super Democrats.
Friday. Well, you know what? Here's what I'll tell you. A lot of the press obviously went out to big protests in Baltimore and Ferguson and all these other places. But we haven't seen protests like this actually happen on the streets of Washington. You never see this on K Street. So a lot of journalists, including me, were upset when we saw the coffee shops that we go into and the banks that we go into have their windows smashed. It was unsettling.
It's hard to break windows in the city when all the windows are already broken. Ladies and gentlemen, that was a commentary on Washington, D.C. and the current problems they are experiencing. We'll be right back. No, let's go to you, Tyrus. Tyrus, you were actually there. We'll get to that later.
In the streets, yes.
Yeah, you were in the streets. Do you know that Larry King's rented limo was attacked and they broke all of Larry King's windows?
Well, it's rented, so it's not really his.
That's true.
So it's like, oh, you broke the windows. I'd be like, oh, don't break that one. Please don't slash that tire.
Yes.
I have insurance.
What are your thoughts?
You know what? We were in the mix. We were down there in the jungle, and most of the protesting was peaceful and stuff. But everybody I talked to that was so how did you vote? I didn't. Well, why are you talking? Like, where was this 4 months ago?
Right.
This support for Hillary wasn't there. They didn't come out in droves like this. They didn't support like this.
True. They're whining after the fact.
You missed it. You know, they missed the. I mean, I get it. You want to hear your voices heard, but it's so confusing, like you didn't vote.
Yes.
A majority. I mean, I'm talking like we talked to a lot of people. You know, it wasn't everybody, of course, but literally every other person I talked to didn't vote. I didn't want to vote, blah, blah, blah. So you really don't, in my opinion, if you don't vote, you don't necessarily have a voice in it. You know, so, but another thing is quick with the celebrities, like Madonna, obviously you've lost your singing voice.
Right.
So my challenge to you would be, instead of singing songs that no one listens to anymore, if you're so impassioned about making change stuff, why don't you run for office? Why don't you run for Congress or Senate and make some real changes?
Yes, there you go.
Yeah.
You are applauding a very bad idea. Speaking of bad ideas, Kat, I was watching MSNBC's coverage of the protests. That was their inauguration. They were going, this is amazing. It was like they had confused the days, and the inauguration happened today. They were saying, look at all the families, look at all the parents, look at all the kids, which is a family. And they keep doing that over and over again as though this was like an American event, which I guess it is in some ways.
Well, they weren't all bad. Like I was telling you earlier, I saw the best protest sign in the world on the way to the train. It was just a big sign that just said, I have concerns, which is amazing. If everyone could be so level-headed. But, you know, there were people who were blocking traffic. When I went out yesterday, there was two women, black women, one of them was older, in a cab trying to get to their destination, and there were anti-Trump protesters sitting on the ground, and I was going between them. I was like, so you know these sort of trying, and they're like, our fare is going up, and all they had to say was, well, haven't you ever seen a protest before? We have to say sitting here because that's what protests do. I'm like, you're protesting against racism and sexism. They're trying to get to where they're going, and you just won't move, and all you have to say is, this is what protesters do.
Yeah, the protesters protesters make life hard for decent people.
Yeah, exactly.
They're not protesters. They're
if you want to talk about enacting change, if you want to volunteer somewhere, if you do want to have a sign that says something like "I have concerns," go for that. But because you're sitting in the street because that's what you saw people do when you're actually making the world worse, that's when I have a problem.
I would say this. There was a lot of nonviolent protests, a lot of people. It was actually fairly calm in most of the cities. I was just focusing on the jerks. I like focusing on the bad apples so I can smear everybody. Yeah. Let's talk about the other side. Sean Spicer, the press conference today. Everybody's rolling their eyes right now. He came out. This was his first press conference as the press secretary, and he didn't take any questions. It was interesting.
Some members of the media were engaged in deliberately false reporting. One was a particularly egregious example in which a reporter falsely tweeted out that the bust of Martin Luther King Jr. had been removed from the Oval Office. This was irresponsible and reckless. Secondly, photographs of the inaugural proceedings were intentionally framed in a way, in one particular tweet, to minimize the enormous support that had gathered on the National Mall. There's been a lot of talk in the media about the responsibility to hold Donald Trump accountable. And I'm here to tell you that it goes two ways. We're going to hold the press accountable as well.
All right, Rob. You know, they always say, like, you got to pick your battles. It seems like Trump is going to pick every battle, right?
Yeah, or his press guys are going to. I mean, like, he's like, simmer down, dude. Again,
I think he got
100 more days.
It's true.
He starts out hot. He's like sweating and angry. Like, dude, just simmer down.
He probably had been yelled at for 40 minutes. He was 40 minutes late. He was yelled at by Trump somewhere saying, "You're going to say this or you're fired."
Maybe, but the problem is, like, everyone can't be Trump. Only Trump can be Trump.
That is true.
Anti-Trump, you know, you need a little yin and yang. This guy doesn't know how to be yang.
Look, he wants us to get the facts right, so they need to get the facts right. He said, you know, you guys are misreporting the crowd size, and they said, but there are no numbers.
Yeah.
Okay, that doesn't even make any sense. It doesn't make sense. Here's the thing that I would tell President Trump. Barack Obama won the crowd size thing. He won it all the way through 2008 through the campaign, and he won the soaring rhetoric thing. Donald Trump now is president too.
Yeah,
he gets to go start his own thing, and he can channel whatever he wants. He has room to make a ton of history, but he lost those two battles. Move on, create the next one.
MoveOn.org, I say.
Right.
I volunteer to be the go-between between Trump and Spicer going forward, because he went in office with. Give him that. Now let me see that. No, we're not going to be able to do that one. You have another one? That's what needs. Poor Spicer to go out there.
Yeah.
Damn. All right. Look, and he obviously was reading what he was told to be read, but the South, like, it doesn't matter. It's the trophy. Like the Super Bowl was the election. The inauguration is the trophy presentation.
But it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
It doesn't
You're the president.
But there's something.
You have Congress. You have House. Focus on that.
Yeah.
But there's something dysfunctional about a guy who thinks it does matter. I mean, crowd size is the new hand size.
Yeah. Last word, Kat, real quick.
I think that being Trump's press secretary honestly has to be the toughest job of all time. I said this earlier, I think there's going to be a high turnover rate. I think there will be more than one. I know that if I had that job or Trump's campaign manager job and I had to stand there in front of all those people, I think I would just start to cry. Which is what I do anytime I'm in trouble. It usually works.
Yeah. You're going to cry right now, aren't you?
Yeah, maybe.
You should. All right, we got to take a break. Coming up, President Trump's been in an office a day, and he's already taken care of more crap than a plumber on meth. But first, an amazing moment from the inauguration parade.
Mr. President, are you going to watch the Greg Gutfeld Show tomorrow night? It's on Fox News Channel. It's also the best.
Agree with me. All right. It's his first full day in office, and President Trump's getting stuff done. He talked to the Prime Minister of Canada on the phone. An actual phone. They have them there in Canada. He'll sit down with the President of Mexico later in the month. Will they share a taco salad? Who knows? The British Prime Minister is coming to the White House next week. I wish it was Julie Andrews. I can't be alone. Maybe I am. And President Trump paid a visit to CIA headquarters where he spoke to 300 agency members, and he covered a lot of ground.
There is nobody that feels stronger about the intelligence community and the CIA than Donald Trump. There's nobody. We have to get rid of ISIS. It has to be eradicated, just off the face of the earth. Maybe sometimes you haven't gotten the backing that you've wanted, and you're going to get so much backing. Maybe you're going to say, please don't give us so much backing. And probably almost everybody in this room voted for me, but I will not ask you to raise your hands if you did. But I would guarantee a big portion, because we're all on the same wavelength, folks. We're all on the same wavelength. Right?
So he's counting. The bottom line here, if you thought President Trump was going to be any different from candidate Trump, I think you got your answer. It's no. All right, Erin. He seems to be turning more and more into Joe Pesci from Casino. Extremely entertaining, fun to be around, and then suddenly frightening, and you don't know what he's gonna do. He could do something. He could go. Let's go kill ISIS. I got the car running. Let's get in the car. We're gonna go, and you go someplace, and he kills 4 guys.
Because I wasn't kind of like his MO throughout the entire campaign. Look, I actually think he's starting to get some conventional politics. He set expectations low. He said he wasn't going to do anything until Monday because he didn't want to get anything confused with all the celebrating.
Right.
And then he actually had a first full day on the job.
Yes.
So I think that was a pleasant surprise for a lot of people.
Tyrus, he again, he talked about being on the cover of Time. He talked about the crowd size. People are criticizing him for doing this like in a solemn place. This is in front of a memorial wall. But they don't understand that I think he only has one speed. It's not his fault to be like this. This is just who he is, right? He's transparent in this way.
I think they went a little hard. I think he was praising them. I think that's about as close as an apology you're ever going to get from Donald Trump in terms of, I think he was saying, I'm going to work with you. I'm going to support you despite what differences we had before I was president. That's kind of what I got from that.
Yeah.
Trust me, there was some, when he starts going on about his stuff, I just think sometimes when people get nervous, they talk about themselves a little bit, and
Thank you.
And that's not an excuse for you. That's not an excuse because you won't even be nervous. Like, guess what I did? Oh, here we go. But and I don't think he's turning to Joe Pesci. I think it's going to be a slow Marlon Brando thing where he'll end up, doing his press conference from a big chair with a tabby cat, and he's going to start making countries offers they can't refuse. So I think that's where we're going. But I think in general, his intent was basically to say, I'm sorry for the tweets without saying, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
But I really got your back. I want to work with you. That's what I got from it.
It seemed like the CIA response was overwhelmingly positive. At least it sounded that way. I mean, there was a lot of applause. You can't show the audience because they're CIA.
Right.
You don't want to out them. But it seemed like they liked him.
Yeah, because he has more power now, which is, I'm very inspired. He's talking on the phone with Justin,
Trudeau?
Yeah, he's talking on the phone. President Mex, everyone's calling him back now. He didn't have to apologize. I've learned from this experience that if the people that I want to call me back, I don't need to apologize.
Right.
I just need to gain power over that, and then they will call me.
There you go. Excellent. So,
I don't think that's a bad way to go about it.
So, like ex-boyfriends, you'll somehow, you'll kidnap them, and you'll put them in a basement, and you will have power over them, and that will be your solution.
Step 1, get a basement.
Stop living in one.
There's nothing wrong with being I don't live in a basement. I live in a studio apartment.
Well, it's underground, so that makes it a basement. I want to talk to Rob. Are we in danger? We were talking about this earlier of a news or a Trump overdose.
Absolutely.
If he fights every battle and he's so entertaining.
Absolutely.
For example, we are covering every single thing he does because there's nothing better on TV that can match that.
It was the whole election.
It's just like it's so saying, is it our fault? Look, he's entertainment personified.
Well, there's a lot of good stuff on TV. I mean, some of us do that for a living. So let's Kevin can wait at 8 o'clock on CBS.
Yeah. Very good, very good.
Look, I mean, it depends on what movie you're playing in your head, right?
Right.
The opposition is playing every single thing Donald Trump is doing now. They watch with spooky music playing in their head. They're not watching color pictures of Trump. They're watching black and white documentary footage that's grainy, like they ship in Nazi Germany, and everything is in slow motion. He looks like the supervillain, right?
Yes.
And that eventually is going to get exhausting. The truth is, he's doing everything normally, like what a normal president does when he takes office. He makes calls to foreign leaders. He goes and meets bureaucracies. All this stuff is kind of normal. It's not that different. We had to wait for this guy to actually do something. He's a lot of talk. We'll see what happens, and give him a shot. Obviously, he's the president.
Yeah.
Everybody wishes him well, right? Because we got a stake in it.
Except for Cher.
Except for Cher.
Yeah.
Yes.
But the weird over the dramatization of it all. It's like he's a drama queen, and now we're all drama queens.
But it is kind of weird, okay? Give everyone some credit. It is kind of weird. We were all saying it was weird that it would never happen. I remember being like, wouldn't it be funny if... And I was very wrong about that.
And you voted for Gary Johnson.
It's true. It all really happened. I vote for freedom.
Yeah, okay. Is that a dog?
No. Okay. I mean, it should be a great dog's name.
It is.
Or a baby.
It's Eric Boland's dog name is Freedom.
Yeah.
Really?
I think so. I'm not kidding.
Somebody named their dog Freedom?
Yes.
They have like a flagpole in every room in their house?
I don't know. I haven't checked. All right, still to come. Less than a day after the inauguration, and the media's already melting faster than a popsicle on a hot car seat. We discuss some of the best of the worst next. All right. If you're watching 90% of the media this week, you might really start to think it was the end of the world. First, CNN aired a special literally called The End. And they counted down to it for days. That's right, they were actually counting down to the end. And this is how the special opened.
They're going up in cheers one more time because the word is spreading that Donald Trump is about to become the next president-elect of the United States.
It's like the day after. Nobody remembers that because I'm old. That was the opposite of uplifting. Then the press continued along their road to doom, wondering whether Trump had enough experience.
And there are questions about the incoming administration's readiness to take the reins of federal government.
The bigger concern is that you have a president-elect with a huge learning curve.
We're all on the Titanic together.
Okay.
Oh, boy. Of course, unlike President Obama and his hefty resume of community organizing. But how did they feel about the new president's inaugural speech?
Of course, nothing about human rights, nothing about gender rights, none of the things you'd hear from a Democrat.
Exactly. That's the point. At least Chris Matthews didn't compare him to Hitler.
When he said today, America first, it was not just the racial, I shouldn't say racial, the Hitlerian background to it.
Hitlerian. All right, so I guess they all hated his speech and will probably hate everything President Trump does for the next 4 years. So what's the lesson? Apparently only the left can scare the crap out of you, whether it's racial division, climate change, or our evil military footprint. The left invented fear. Now Trump steals their act and they're getting the vapors. Screw him. All right. I never know what sets him off. Kat, do you think that this is just like a mirror image? Like Obama started out with a very negative portrayal of America. Remember, we have all these problems, and I'm going to change things. Isn't Trump doing the exact thing that Obama's doing, but just using different variables?
Absolutely. I think that's what politics is all about and what life is all about. You're supposed to, under-promise and then overperform. It's a very normal thing. He's not going to make America great again. It shouldn't have surprised anybody. That was his whole idea behind his entire campaign, was that America's not great. I'm going to make it great again. So, of course, that's what his speech is all going to be about. And, of course, you're going to have to use fear to do something like that.
Yeah. You know what it is? It's like the movie Cobra. Remember the Sylvester Stallone movie? What? Tyrus?
Got my attention now.
Yeah,
Cobra, go.
Cobra. Well, no. Wasn't he the crime was a disease and he was the cure?
Yeah,
something like that?
Yeah.
That's what Trump is. Trump is Cobra. I said he was Joe Pesci, but now he's Cobra, Sylvester Stallone holding the gun. He's like, I'm coming there, Tyrus.
Yeah.
To get rid of, remember he said it ends now?
Now.
It ends now. I don't know how it's going to end now.
But it's ended now.
That it's ending now.
How? That makes it too hard. Why are you giving a how?
No,
of course
no how.
Now,
only
because
now.
he's giving plans away to the enemy. Don't you listen to what he says?
Yes.
I'm okay with giving, health care plans away to the enemy.
Yes.
ISIS can hear our health care plans.
The only thing ISIS is going to hear is the sweet sound of...
Yeah.
I mean, nobody disagrees with that.
So
except ISIS.
ISIS, yes.
There'll be no more notes being dropped. Get out.
All right.
Leave.
There's a huge mixer. Everyone's welcome. Come on down.
Yes, that'll work. You won 2 tickets to the, I don't
40
know, the
virgins
Islamic
for every
Super Bowl.
young man who shows up before 7.
They show up at an Islamic Holiday Inn, and they all get killed. Rob, will the media ever cut him some slack? I don't think. I mean, he's the greatest gift. So
yeah, greatest gift. Also, their biggest threat. I mean, look, for years, the rule has been Democrats give a speech about how terrible America is, and Republicans say, no, it's really great.
Yeah.
Now we have Republicans saying, no, America's really terrible.
Yes.
It's a horrible American carnage, all that stuff. And the Democrats have never, the liberals have never heard that.
Yeah.
So they're kind of freaking out a little bit. One of them is going to figure out that there's a huge potential market in just sort of reporting what this guy does.
Right.
Kind of in a flat, toneless, emotionless way. He did this, he said X, he said Y, without a lot of... that's a big market. You can make a lot of money just doing that.
That's right. And yet,
robot reporters. I've been saying this forever.
Right.
I shouldn't know because I'd be out of a job. Well, I'm not a reporter.
Listen, David Frum, who is a writer for The Atlantic, yesterday wrote something, and his headline was, the worst inaugural address in history. I mean, this is exactly what Trump does, gives these absolutist statements. Are we just going to go down this rabbit hole of hyperbole even further? I mean, that's what this sounds like.
Yeah, no, it's true. Everybody's got to dial it back and let it go and observe objectively.
We can't change
because if they're not, they're jerks.
Nobody can observe anything objectively.
That's true. That's true. We're all subjective animals.
We should be honest about that.
That woman screaming no when he was inaugurated. What did she think was going to happen?
I don't know.
Like, he's president of the United States. We knew that in November.
If you say,
let's have this now, we did it, we're going to see.
If you yell no 3 times, what happens is Hillary Beetlejuice will return. All right. And become president. It was a busy news week and a lot of stories. They just didn't get the coverage they deserved. So here's what you missed.
And now here's the news that got overshadowed by President Trump's inauguration. Sir Patrick Stewart will voice the poop emoji in an upcoming movie. The Shakespearean-trained actor is better known for his work in Star Trek and X-Men. But we think this idea really stinks. Pop star Ariana Grande getting called out by fans for an out-of-touch Instagram post. She captioned the photo claiming she was the hardest-working 23-year-old human being on Earth. Now that's some small thinking, Grande. Next time, take your whining and scram. Retired New York Yankee Alex Rodriguez will host a new reality show called Back in the Game. The premise? Helping former pro athletes in financial distress. Watching ex-millionaires finally make better choices with their money? That's exhilarating TV. Hey, champ, how about shelling out some of your own clams? This has been news that got overshadowed by President Trump's inauguration.
Coming up, our favorite moments from the inauguration. It'll be the greatest segment in the history of TV. Trust me.
If you'll be in the New York area and would like to be part of our studio audience, email greggits@foxnews.com.
That's the worst of my problems. Welcome back. We're live, in case you were wondering. We're going to talk about our favorite part of the inauguration. I think, Tyrus, you're first?
Yeah, I thought the moment of the Trumps and Obama's family, the peaceful transfer was great. It was a great moment for the country and shows how people have different opinions and different views and don't necessarily get along, can be peaceful for the country. And I thought that was a great moment.
Oh, very nice. Very serious thing there from Tyrus. I liked it when there was some reporters shouting questions at them. That was very funny. Who's next? Kat. Yes.
Yeah, I like when you talk about the transfer of power and having it be from, not from one party to another, but to the people. I don't know if I believe that necessarily. As a libertarian, I have a lot of issues with Trump, but also as a libertarian, I'm very excited to see the two-party system get shaken up a little bit. Because
did you want to throw to a moment?
Well, that was just basically what he said. So.
Oh, okay. I thought. Would you like to hear the soundbite? Because we planned on showing the actual soundbite rather than having you clumsily explain it.
Okay.
This is the part where I dance.
Today, we are not merely transferring power from one administration to another or from one party to another, but we are transferring power from Washington, D.C., and giving it back to you, the people.
See, Kat, when you do a show, you go, here's my favorite moment, and then you throw to it, and then you explain why.
I think I did a pretty good job.
I don't know. No, what I think...
I've certainly gained sympathy in the audience's eyes for you humiliating me on live television.
They feel sorry for you, Kat.
Yeah.
All right, Erin.
Well, now I'm ashamed because I actually picked a funny one.
Oh, that's okay.
Which is George W. Bush trying to figure out how to get into a poncho. And here's the thing. Yesterday was such a strange day, and I actually haven't laughed as hard as I did yesterday looking at those photos.
Yeah, look at Cheney's face.
Yeah, and then he helped him.
Yes. You know, there's a website for that.
Yeah. This is like a dry cleaner bag.
Yeah, it does. It does.
Yeah, it's a lot harder than it looks.
Clearly,
give him a break.
He was
I can't open a plastic bag in grocery stores.
I haven't laughed as hard since 2013 when there was that New York Times Weekender commercial, and then the New York Daily News spoofed it. I laughed that hard again yesterday.
What an obscure comparison.
Do we have that? Roll
yeah, do we have that?
No, we
I haven't
don't.
laughed that hard since my aunt fell down a flight of stairs and landed in a bucket of mud. All right, Rob.
Well, my favorite piece of video, I don't know if they have it.
Do they?
They're right there. Look, Bill Clinton's staring at somebody, and she's just looking at him like, who is that? And he kind of looks back at her, and she's so angry. Now, we don't know what he's looking at. It could have been Ruth Bader Ginsburg. It could have been Ivanka Trump. We don't know. But wherever he was looking for about a minute, he liked looking at it. And she didn't like him looking at it.
You know that it was like an adult female eating a hot dog.
I don't know. They were serving hot dogs there at the time.
No, I just, I'm a big fan of hot dogs.
Who's been in that situation before, that was a horrible. Her teeth weren't moving. She's like, again, I can't take you anywhere.
I know.
I lost.
I
not now, dear.
Kudos.
I swear, it's my cousin. You just look like my cousin.
Right.
That's not your cousin. I'm telling you, it's bad.
Kudos to her for showing up and putting on a brave face.
Absolutely.
All right.
It's my dementia, honey. I don't know what I'm doing, you know?
Here's mine. This was MSNBC's coverage. Go give it to Chris Matthews.
Button the coat.
This will now become the fashion in Washington. The extra long tie and the open coat.
How do you tie the tie to make it get that long?
That's all the way he's always done it. It's very deliberate.
Chris, you were so upset earlier that the president was not buttoning his jacket.
Yeah, I think he's gotten it together.
And now that I know it's upsetting to you, I don't want
No, I just thought it was a statement, but then someone later corrected me and said that was always the statement that he makes, which is the open coat, the long tie.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Some sort of insouciant message he was sending to people.
All right. So what you saw there, you know, that was Brian Williams and Rachel Maddow and Chris Matthews. They morphed into Best in Show. and Chris Matthews turned into Fred Willard.
Yeah.
Just saying complete nonsense. Absolutely. There was a point where, okay, so he compares Trump. He says it's Hitlerian. And he goes, you know, how's he going to fire his son-in-law? What's his name, Jared?
Yeah.
How is he going to fire him if he's his son-in-law? Well, I guess you could have him executed. and he's thinking out loud. I go, so he's executing a Jew. First you're calling him a Hitler, and then you're talking about executing a Jew, Chris Matthews. But he is a wild genius. I can listen to him for days. He really is. He says stuff. It's like it's like all over the place.
Well, I can listen to him, but I can't watch him because I always want to go.
I love Chris Matthews.
Just right there. You're brilliant, but if you could just. It's just. Blah,
all right.
Blah.
Don't go anywhere, people. There's exactly 3,000 minutes of show left. I think that's a lie. I should read these. Kat Timpf and Tyrus hit the streets of D.C. harder than a hurricane made of diamonds. If you leave now, it's over between us. So while I was busy watching the inauguration from a hotel room in my custom bathrobe made of human hair, Kat and Tyrus hit the streets of D.C. They spoke to protesters, Trump supporters, and me. I saw them outside my hotel, and I tried to avoid them. Anyway, they came back with this.
$2 flag.
Go Trump!
Tyrus and Kat here, D.C. backstage.
Really, really way backstage. I can't see anything.
I got you.
Oh, yeah, there it is. All right, yeah, let's go do this. Let's go talk to these people. Let's go. All right, I go this way. Yeah.
Go that way.
All right.
Meet you in the middle.
All right, cool.
Be safe. Cool.
Science is real.
You like science, you know, for real?
Yes.
Could I hire you to protest next week for me?
We're not paid protesters.
You're not paid? Okay. Because I think it's ridiculous that they took Alf off of Hulu again.
All right.
You like Alf?
Alf?
Yeah, Gordon Shumway.
I'm not familiar.
He's a science guy, too.
Cool.
Are you supposed to be in school right now?
Yes, I'm supposed to be in school, but hey, the inauguration school.
So proud of your outfit. What we're going to do is we're going to blur out your face to protect your identity.
Okay,
so the teachers don't know you were playing hooky.
That's fine.
We're not. We're not going to do that.
You can leave it in.
You're super pro Billy Bush for prez.
Well, the VP position has been taken. I think we should be offering him a cabinet position, maybe head of women or something.
Have you spoken to Billy about this?
I have not. Billy and I aren't particularly close.
Justice for Billy.
Justice for Billy Bush.
Are they booing Billy Bush?
What do you think of all this, man?
It's great. Like I said, we came all the way from Ohio to come down here to support our president. And that's what we're going to do. Stand in line, stand in the rain, rain, sleet, or snow. We're here to support Trump regardless of what the situation is.
He respects the office. So important.
Do you think he's ever going to stop tweeting, though?
He'll never stop tweeting. He's addicted.
I'm a little addicted to tweeting.
Well, but not at 3 a.m., I bet.
Sometimes.
Well, but this is different. You're not president.
Yeah, but I also always do regret it when I tweet at 3 a.m.
You have to be careful when you tweet. It's public. It could get you.
You're right. I think I was meant to meet you today.
How was business going so far today?
It's going well. It's going well. We just try and get it in. We came a little late, but we try and get it in. That's it. That's all. $5 hats. I can't even disturb my money. I'm trying to get Trump out the way.
Paid. He's getting paid. He's getting paid.
You been talking to these protesters at all? Any of them to change your mind, maybe?
Not at all.
Yeah. Maybe like by the other day, you'll say Hillary not for prison?
No. I'll probably just shout it louder.
Yeah.
Let's say that they were Facebook buddies with Russia the entire election, and Russia was feeding him stuff, and they were feeding Russia stuff. Would you respect the office? Maybe not necessarily the man, but respect the office if that was proven unfounded?
So it doesn't really mean anything. The office is the man.
Okay, I respect your opinion. Me personally, I'm always been, regardless of my views of the guy in there, respect the office because America first, party second. But if you feel that strongly about it, I respect your opinion. Thank you for your time.
My pleasure. Thank you. Take care.
See, you can debate without calling names and have a different opinion. It's amazing. We should try it more often. Thank you.
Take care.
Well done. I just noticed when you two are together like that, you're like a human version of the number 10.
You ever call her a 0 again, Greg? I'll pop you right in the mouth.
I thought it was very good. Very good. Huh? Liked it?
Yeah.
It was raining a little bit.
Whoa.
You made a lot of sacrifices.
Yeah. What was the shoulders about? Like,
for me?
Was that doubt? Like,
well,
yeah?
he's a TV pro.
It wasn't a solid, was it? On a scale of 1 to 10, 6?
I gotta go.
A little bit, you know.
All right.
Yeah.
Hey, put the camera on me because I got to go to a break. We got final thoughts up next. Don't forget, join me and Dana Perino for an event called Short Stories by Short People. It's next Saturday, January 28th, Warner Theater in Washington. There will also be music by Larry Gatlin. You can get your tickets by going to Ticketmaster.com. Okay, we're running out of time, so...
What you've wanted to say all show, but haven't had the chance to say, so here's your chance to say it. Right now.
Rob.
Two things. One, Kevin Can Wait, 8 o'clock, Monday, CBS, be there. Two, whatever you think, whatever you voted for, next 4 years, we're all in this together.
Mm-hmm. Good point. Erin?
I'm taking a pre-dawn train back to Washington tomorrow so that you can all watch Media Buzz at 11 a.m. on Fox with Howie Kurtz. The other thing is, Kat, the sign that you saw with the woman who said, I have concerns, I just love that because I saw so many signs yesterday that made me blush.
Speaking of blushing, Tyrus makes me blush. Go ahead.
I've blushed a day in my life.
I know.
I actually have a question. You can't answer it here, but on Planet Tyrus on Twitter, you can hit me up. If Jesus walked the earth, what do you think his height and weight was?
I don't know. That's a good question.
Proportionate.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I don't understand.
Final five just popped in my head.
I'm a little embarrassed because I fell asleep open mouth on the train in front of 2 people that are now in the audience watching the show. Did I snore or not? Not. Are you lying to me? I feel so much better now. All right.
You snore like a truck driver.
I snore like a violent grandfather, yes.
We've all had an experience with a snoring, violent grandfather.
Yeah, they're just that they you can creep past me, you know, when you know the snoring's going on.
That's a terrible thing to hear. All right. Thanks to Rob Long, Erin, McPike, Tyrus, Katherine, our studio audience. I'm Greg Gutfeld, and I love you, America.